welcome back to Netball Natter. We are super excited to introduce our guest for the session today, which is the one and only Gretel Bueta. This was the most just incredible session. She is so lovely, so down to earth. She gave away some incredible kind of top tips for if you're looking to kind of make it in the netball world.
Yeah.
She spoke about her time kind of like on the court, what's it like being a diamond, then mum life, then coming back into the sport, and gives away some kind of ideas as to what she might be doing in the future. So have a listen.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just so much fun to chat to her. We were laughing so much. Just really lovely. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. So,
And we were chatting about this, about like who our netball idols are, and actually she talks about who hers is in the episode. But for me, I was saying, being an attacker, she's definitely one of like the shooters that I personally always looked up to and loved watching, and embarrassingly watched and rewatched many videos of her doing layups, which is a bit of a tee up, ready for what's going to come in the session.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. And it was so nice to meet someone. They say don't meet your like idols because they might not live up to expectation, and she just surpassed it. She was, as you said, so lovely, so down to earth, and some of the tips she gives away are just super, super valuable.
Yeah. So yeah, as we said, we loved talking to her, and we're just super excited for you guys to watch this episode as well. So we really hope you enjoy this.
So today we are incredibly excited to have a special guest joining us on Netball Natter. We're excited to introduce you to one of the best players in the world of netball. As a key player of the Australian Diamonds, I think it's fair to say she has wowed us with her unique playing style, athleticism, and just pure talent on the court. We are obviously talking about the one and only Gretel Bueta. So, Gretel, thank you so much for joining us on Netball Natter.
Oh, that was so lovely. I'll pay you later for saying all those things. Oh, no, so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for having us. And really what we kind of wanted to jump in today is we've got so many questions about your journey to netball, your time kind of on the court, off the court. We've got some kind of fast 5 questions we want to wrap up with at the end. But to kick things off, I think it'd be great just to know a little bit more about you. And really what we'd love to start with is, we know that you come from quite a sporting family. So we would love to know a little bit more around kind of your journey to netball, and specifically, I think you started in the world of basketball and then transitioned over. So how was that transition? And tell us a little bit kind of about yourself.
Yeah, so I grew up following in my brother's footsteps, and it's kind of ironic because now we have 2 boys and a little girl on the way, which is the same as my family. And looking back, I was like, no wonder mum and dad like pushed for us to all to choose the same sport, because that's so easy. You go to one thing on a weekend. You don't have to be dropping one at rugby, one at netball, one at basketball. We all just chose basketball, which I think was smart by them. But we loved it. And it took me, I think from 14 I got in the Australian under-19 team, and we had World Cup in we had junior under-19 World Cup in Thailand, and we're playing against like Skylar Diggins and a few of the WNBA players now. And then I went to Chile for the under-19 World Cup 4 years later when I was top age, and played against Brianna Stewart, who's one of the main WNBA players now in America, and I really enjoy watching her play. And I had under-17 Worlds in south of France. So playing basketball took me all around the world, and I was in and out of school, and I loved that though. I wasn't hugely into school, but mum and dad made sure I kept up everything. And I had a really, really understanding school, which actually Bobby's starting there next year, which is like a full circle moment and so special, with his cousins. So yeah, it was all I wanted to do and all I wanted to be, and I picked up my 4 colleges to go over to basketball, and I moved to the Australian Institute of Sport, which is in Canberra, and did year 12 down there, and with 70 athletes, 70 16-year-old athletes, all living in the one place trying to focus on their sport. It was wild, but it was it was really good. It was just really intense, and I think after playing 2 WNBL seasons, I needed to just take a step back. I got kind of run down in glandular fever, and I was only, I think, 18 or 19 at the time, so I was still quite young and fit in so much basketball in that time. And I was a week away from, you go to the colleges fly you for 48 hours at every college that you pick, and then when you come home you've got 48 hours to choose one to move for 4 years.
Wow.
And me and my parents were set, we're gonna go, yeah. And I just said I can't do it. I don't want to move away for 4 years. I just need a break. So yeah, that I was grateful for that journey because it led me to netball, because I stopped everything, had 4 months off playing sport, which was really weird, and that's kind of why I took up social netball, because I was like, I want to get back into team sport again. I miss team sport. And I used to play a bit of netball when I was younger. So I was, and my mum played netball, basketball, so tried out at the local district team, and I didn't make it. That was the plan. We'll go district trials and with my friend, and we'll play socially, but it's like a little bit competitive. And then I didn't make it, and she did, and I was like, oh, sorry, our plan didn't go to plan. And then I got a call the next day from the state league team being like, hey, we know that you're a basketballer, and now why were you at netball trials? And I think they're all a little bit confused, like, isn't she a basketballer? And then they're like, oh, our goal shooter just fell pregnant, can you fill in for us? And I said, I'll give it a go. And I went along, and funnily enough, the lady who took me under her wing, Paula Stewart, is now the Firebirds assistant coach for this year. So yeah, and she's helped Riley Batchelor as well, and Halida Veve. She's kind of helped us three get into the professional netball league, and she's a great person and a great coach. So I got really excited when I saw her as assistant coach for Firebirds. Yeah, so that's kind of my story. It was a long journey. I went to nationals that year, I think in 2013, under 21 nationals I went to, and I remember like airballing it so bad, but getting my rebound and trying to shoot again. And they're like, no, that's like replay. There was so many rules. Or I was like, Amelia Ann Ecanazio and Steph Wood were in my under 21 team. That's how, crazy the team was. So I had some really good shooters to learn off, which I'm grateful for. And they were very patient with me because I was so raw. But going to those nationals as a 19-year-old, I had one more year to go back to those nationals, but I remember going there and being like, okay, this is the standard. I'm not nowhere near there, but I'll give myself a year to come back to under 21 nationals if I make the Queensland team again, and I'll try and be up to standard and really really focus on developing that year. So I gave myself a year, and I just worked on my footwork. I think coming from basketball to netball, you have slower footwork. You need to, like, netballers have crazy footwork. Like, it's amazing. So I had to quicken up my footwork. I had to learn not to step. I had to, relearn how to position my body. My passing, I had to get faster at passing. I had to get better at shooting without a backboard. I just had to get better in all areas. But I was fortunate enough. Then next year went back to nationals, and I got a phone call after that nationals from Rob Wright, who was the Swifts coach at the time, and then that's how I got my first professional contract. So yeah, bit of a journey.
Were you like footworking and like dribbling the ball for the first couple of weeks?
Yes, and I would like want to just grab the ball out of the netballer's hands, because in basketball you can just grab the ball. So I'd be like so tempted.
And obstruction, because like you don't have to be like 3 feet, do you? You can just be close enough. Yeah.
I was like, I remember my first state league game, my mum was like, Gretel, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because I think I airballed like so many times, and I stepped, and it was pretty awful. And I was like, oh, I do enjoy it. Like, she probably thought, she said she thought I was mad because I've gone from like playing high level basketball to just being such a rookie at netball. I thought the transition would be a little bit smoother, but no, it definitely took me some work.
You've definitely brought some of those skills into netball though. Like I know Sarah's a massive fan of your layups and things like that. So it's definitely benefited in some ways. So
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was literally so unsure of whether my long shots would go in or not. I'd rather do a layup because I was like, this is what I've grown up doing. I know these go in. Like any chance I get, I'm going to try and do one. So yeah, that's kind of how that came about. But it's really cool seeing like so many shooters introduce it into their games now, and I get so proud. Like I love it. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely one of those. I mean, I do not play anywhere near the sound of this, do it for a bit of fun on the weekends, and Luce sometimes comes and watches my games. Whenever I do, and I'm always there like, yes, I think of you. I copied it from you and watched so many videos online where, as you said, like if you're not wanting to take the longer shot and you're defenders and you've got the space, like why would you not kind of take the step and like go for it? So it's a nice dynamic to add into games, and I think it makes games more exciting because when you've got a player like yourself that is so athletic and kind of has so much movement around in the circle, you never quite know, are you going to do a layup? Are you going to go for like the quick short pass and then kind of move around in the circle? So when you get the layup, you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. How did she do it? And you just look so cool when you do it. In my head, I look like you when I do it, but I definitely don't.
Yes, I love that. You're going to have to send me some footage. I'll be so proud.
I think I would die if I had to share that with you. I think you'd be like, you're not doing a layup.
No, I'm all for it. That's so good.
I'll make sure I'm filming next time, Sarah.
Yes, please. I
put it on Talentlockr. Who knows?
Yes.
Maybe
that'll be the first highlights posted.
I love it. Give me like some thumbs up or some likes on that. I need some hype up on it.
Yeah, you better get your phone ready. Oh, that'd be so.
Obviously you spoke about like being a part of the Swifts and the Firebirds and things, and obviously Diamonds as well. Was there like, have you had like a standout moment that you were like, oh my goodness, this is something that, like, obviously you're not going to forget most things in your netball career, but like, is there one thing that stands out to you that's like, yeah, this is, oh my goodness, I've made it?
Yeah, no, I think it was winning the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. I think after coming to Liverpool and playing New Zealand and losing by a point, I knew I was really wanted to try and win a major tournament, and they're obviously the two major tournaments. And yeah, coming back after Bobby, that's all I kind of had in my mind. I was like, I just want to win a Commonwealth Games or a World Cup, and it just felt so good. And I think 8 of the 12 players that were in that team, we lived together in, like, we had like a netball development, like 3-month kind of camp that we all went to at 2021. So we knew each other, and then we've come through the pathways together, and it was so special to get that moment because most of us had a loss at the World Cup, and then we won Com Games, and then the girls went on to win again. It was funny, I was FaceTiming them. They just won the World Cup in South Africa, and I just had Toby the same day. So that was really special. Wow. Yeah, that was really special too. So yeah, I think just winning a major tournament. And then I remember Mum saying, because when I first joined the Firebirds, we were really successful and we won back-to-back premierships. And I remember Mum saying, this is really special, Gretel. This doesn't usually happen. And I was like, oh, like that's just all part of it. Like, just took it in my stride. And then looking back after like such a drought after those 2 premierships, I was like, they were so special. So probably the premierships with the Firebirds and the Commonwealth Games gold was and I suppose the first trip back after Bobby, when I took Nico and Bobby and we came to London and played in the quad series, that was really special too.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And is it hard to like change from obviously the pathway kind of training and things into like a professional career? Is like, what is the, obviously there's going to be a difference, but is there like a massive change, or are you kind of just like brought up knowing that it just gradually gets a bit more like intense?
Yeah, I think nothing can prepare you for your first preseason in a professional sports team. I know, I played under 21s, and I was in it was like called EDP, the Elite Development Pathways, and I would always watch the Firebirds train, but that's the exciting thing, like, it's going to be a jump, but as a developing player, you're so excited, you want to get there so bad that when you're experiencing it, you're like, oh, no wonder, like, there's such a jump, because it's such a, you want to play in the best league in the world, but it's also like, whoa, this is like full on. And I think, nothing can prepare you for your first preseason, but you learn a lot, and then your body kind of gets used to it over the years, so you know what to expect. It's just something that the more you experience, the more you get used to. But I think that's it. That's the exciting thing, is it's kind of good that there's a little bit of a jump, but it's not too outrageous at all. And I think that's what the pathways do really well, is that they prepare you as best they can. And once you get that opportunity, you obviously are so eager, and you grab it with two hands, and you always at training like super early, and you get really nervous when there's fitness training and all those exciting things that make you look back now and you're like, they were the best years ever, because you're so on edge the whole time. You just want to do everything right, and not collapse in a fitness session and make a fool out of yourself. Things like that. But you look back on those moments and you're like, oh, they were so good. I was so scared, but they were so good.
Do you still get nervous for games?
Yeah, definitely. I think
Okay.
I don't think that ever goes away. I always get on edge and nervous, and that never went away for me. I think that's why people play for so long and love it, because you still get that like really special feeling in your tummy, like. And I think what makes it easier is you just learn, you have different ways of dealing with them better. You get better at dealing with that feeling. But
no, I
never
was
kind
saying
of
to
goes
Sarah
away.
the other day, I start to get really nervous for my games now, but as soon as the first whistle goes, you're kind of like just in the zone, and you've completely forgotten about that feeling. And then after the game, even if it's like a loss, I'm still there like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
Yes, that's exactly the same as me. Yeah, it's the lead up that you just like, like,
just get it over and done with.
yeah, you're trying to play it cool, but inside you're like, oh, I'm so nervous.
Did you have like a pre-game kind of ritual things that you do to help you kind of manage then the nerves and the stress? Because I guess having the nerves and the stress is like I think it shows you care and you're passionate and you want to do a good job. But I guess being able to channel that and put it into the sport and use that nervous energy in the right way is obviously incredibly important. It can be really powerful, I think, for a player as well. So how did you channel some of those nerves? Was there any kind of tactics or like coping mechanisms that you kind of use to channel the nervous energy into layups and super shots and everything else on the court?
No, I think that's a really good question, and it took me a while to learn, because when I first probably made it into the league, I still felt like I didn't belong there, or I wasn't good enough, so I'd just try and do everything right. But as a result, I was playing like a little statue. I wasn't playing freely, and when I knew when I played freely, I was playing my best netball. So I would get super nervous and be super hard on myself and not want to go out there. And my main thing was to make no mistakes. But as a result, I was making lots of mistakes because I was being so hard on myself. So I think one year I missed out on the 2018 Com Games, and it was on the Gold Coast, and I grew up as a Gold Coast girl, and that was a big dream of mine, and I got reserve. And I think after I missed out on that, I said, well, I've got nothing to lose now. I'm just going to go out and play and have fun. And that really changed kind of the trajectory of my game. It kind of, went in the opposite direction. I was starting to, my accuracy was going up. I was playing way more freely. I was enjoying it more. I looked like I was enjoying it more. So that was a big probably turning point where I was like, oh, I missed out. That really hurt. But okay, I got nothing to lose now. Let's just go out and have fun. And I wish I had that mentality from the start, but I suppose you have to learn that, and that comes all with it. But yeah, that's probably one thing that I love passing on is just like, I feel like as netballers, when you're trying to make it, or when you're so passionate about something, everything you're bad at, and you sometimes forget your strengths. So that was one thing that I'd think about, like going into a game, like, these are my strengths, I'm coming up against this person, these are my strengths against her, let's just go out there and play to my strengths. So when I took all that other worry away and kept it really simple and positive, it made a huge difference. Yeah.
Definitely. It's some really good advice, I think, for, like, hopefully, as we've said, we've got, I guess, hopefully a variety of listeners of people that are thinking about potentially a career kind of into netball, right the way through to kind of like social teams. We went and did like a mini competition, so we've got a few more people that listen from like a social perspective. So I think no matter what level you play at, I think everyone gets nervous before some of these games. So it's nice to hear that everyone, it's normal to get nervous, and that actually it's a good thing and you can kind of channel it.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Have fun. Go out there and have fun, and you'll play your best netball.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you're known as a player for having a really unique style, and I think it lends itself quite nicely to what you were saying around having fun, letting loose, just kind of bringing in some of that basketball kind of background in as part of your playing style. But how do you think a lot of your unique playing style, in terms of like the athleticism, your speed on the court, I guess the strategic thinking, the vision that you have for some of the balls? I mean, we've seen some of the highlights of you when you've been playing, and your vision to kind of thread the needle of the ball into like players is just insane. So where do you think you kind of developed that unique playing style from, and your skills?
Oh, thank you. You guys are so nice. I need to call you up like every week to get this complete.
Totally fine with us.
No. Oh no, I think honestly that mindset, like, I used to try and play like a traditional netballer, but I was like, I'm actually not a traditional netballer. I didn't grow up, through learning the fundamentals. I learned them later, so my fundamentals are a bit funny. And so I think when I embrace that side of my play, because that's what kind of sets me apart and is my strengths, I suppose. So when I was like, what are my strengths? And I was like, oh, my athleticism and different things depending on what defender you come up against. But I kind of learnt to embrace it rather than try and play a traditional netball game, which I'm so bad at it. And actually Steph Wood was really helpful with that, because she's like, Gretel, I can never play like you, and you can never play like me. So let's never try and do that. Like, let's just embrace our own styles and work together. And she really made me feel safe out there. So I think having really nice people around you that embrace like your playing style as well, and not trying to change it. And that, I think that was the lovely thing about playing in that 2022-2021 Diamond squad, is that you, like Stacey Marinkovic, just sat everyone down, and you got to know each other's strengths, and you worked to each other's strengths. So you're like, oh, I'm playing with Steph. She's so smart with the ball. I just need to put myself in the right position, and I know she'll get it to me, kind of thing. And I'm playing with Cara. I know I can put the ball up high. I know she'll be free on the baseline. That's her strength. Like, let's get her the ball on the baseline. That's where she feels comfortable. Like, just working to each other's strengths, and then as a result, you'll play your best netball, and it's fun. So yeah, that's really helped, I think, having a team and players around you that embrace you for who you are, and you do the same to your teammates as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
So obviously you like tailor your play with who you're playing with, but you mentioned kind of, would you ever drastically change your style if you're against like a very different defender, or are you very much like, no, this is my strength, I play like this is my game, I'm just going to try and shake them off as much as I can? Or do you change your kind of styles, your ways?
Yeah, I think keeping your like core style, but just tinkering with it. So like, say, say I'm coming up against like a Jiva mentor. I know she's really smart and she's got experience on me.
Mm.
And what I've got against her is probably like I had youth. And so I would try and move her a bit more, like
Yeah.
bring her up, take her back, move her a bit more. But then she's really good at working with her goal defense to counteract that movement. So I knew that was like you try and kind of get isolated and then come out I would be constantly moving and changing up my starting position, starting out of the circle, not just staying in the circle where she knows where I am and she
Yeah.
can set up because she's so experienced. And then say I'm against a Shamira. Shamira's like incredible at moving. She's fast, but then she can jump and then she's elusive, so you don't know where she is. So with Shamira, you kind of have to go and find her and then go away from
Yeah.
her. So just like little changes, I suppose, in the way you play, but always working towards your strengths at the same time, I suppose. And yeah, that's the exciting thing of when you come up like against a young new Fumi and
Mm.
you wouldn't know, like it's like how okay, this is the first time you're coming up against them, you got to try and work them out. And that's the exciting thing about netball too. That's what I love about going out there and playing every week and playing the international games as well. Is it's a bit of a game of like cat and mouse, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're each trying to like work each other out, and yeah, it's the best game ever.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Is there any advice that you'd give to kind of players in terms of how they can kind of stand out? Obviously, I know we'll dive into kind of the talent locker side of which I think will be a huge asset to kind of young aspiring players. But is there any, yeah, top tips you would give to kind of stand out for players so that they can get selected for like the diamonds or, the roses, for example? Any tips around that?
Any tips? No, I think that's you have some great questions. This is a really good question. I think tips would just be like embrace your style, like um, own it, and then like work out what you need to do and what skill set you need to get to where you are. So I used to like really work on, okay, I'm tall, but what will set me apart is if I'm tall and I have really good footwork, because then I can use my height, but can also use my footwork as well if a defender comes up and matches me my height. So just things like little things like that you can add to your bow. And I just used to do 15 minutes of footwork every afternoon, or I would do like skipping every morning. My husband would be like, because he was trying to make it professionally in rugby, and he's like, Gretel, you're just built different, like who goes out and skips in the morning? Like that's just crazy. But like little things like that, like I think, and if anything, it just is you showing up for yourself. So you know that you're putting in the work, and then you feel
Yeah.
more confident when you go to trials. You're like, oh, I've done the work. Let's just give it my best shot because I've put in the work. So
Yeah.
I think that really helps with your mindset, is just doing little things, little extras that gives you, then when you go to the trials or when you're trying to get seen, you know you've done the work, and it gives you extra confidence out there on court.
Yeah. And obviously you mentioned you do your own kind of like aside from normal training, you do your own skipping and things like that. What would like a week of training and a week of maybe being in the Firebirds or the Diamonds, kind of what would that training look like? I'm assuming it would be intense, but like is it fitness one day, you've got ball skills the next, or is it very kind of like I don't know what I'm walking into on a day-to-day basis?
Great question. Sorry. Yeah, I think no, it's very much like I feel like netball is very much like need to know what's going on, what
Yeah.
day, so they can plan, and then so they can do their uni classes and
Yeah.
like plan their life. I feel like females are so good at that. Like they need to know what's on what day and
Yeah.
things like that. But I feel like max is probably 4 court sessions a week, and that would be 2 main ones and a captain's run and then playing in season. So you have kind of 2 1.5 hour sessions that are at like done at 100%, but you come in, you actually start training like 40 minutes beforehand and you do all your activations. So that's a big thing that's come into netball, where you come and you do all like kind of like plyometric things and
Yeah.
practice your landing, and you warm up your knees and your ankles, and you do all that. So by the time you get out to court, you can go 100% from the get-go, which is really cool. I really like that concept, because it's like, all right, as soon as we go to the courts, like it's go time. So yeah, it's probably an hour and a half max, which I love, because like my attention span is like, okay, anything over 2 hours, I just start like
zoning out.
yeah, zoning out, and I feel like the coaches know that. So it's 1.5 hours, but it's like at maximum intensity, and then they allow you time to rest and recover in between that as well. So but sometimes, like in pre-season, it's like could be 5 court sessions followed by gym afterwards. They just want you fatigued the whole time. So then when you get to in season, it's such a relief, because you're like, oh, they want to keep you fresh, like so much better. So it does change, but I feel like gym sessions are probably 60 minutes, like intense as well, but you do about 2 to 3, depending, 3 in pre-season and 2 gym sessions a week in season. And then the fitness could be 3 sessions a week in pre-season, but there's not too much. They kind of just tap in court specific fitness into your trainings in season, which is much more enjoyable. But it's crazy that you can do as much fitness as you like as professional athletes in the preseason, but nothing, I feel like you guys might feel the same, but nothing prepares you for the burn of the first game. I feel like that first game, your lungs feel like they're about to explode. It's crazy. And then by the end of the season, you're like, can get through a game so much easier. It's
No, I think I'm still feeling the burn at the end.
No, that's true, because the games get harder. I feel like everyone gets oh, that's so funny. But yeah, that's typically what,
Amazing. No, that's great. And obviously we kind of spoke about some of your highlights on court, but we also spoke briefly kind of before we started recording, like obviously the transition into being a mum, and like how was that from going to netball to being mum, and then mum to kind of slipping back into netball? Like you obviously said there was a lot of support and like you just felt very nurtured, but yeah, just sort of talk us through that.
Yeah, no, I definitely did. It was amazing, and I had an unreal experience. Like even before people knew I was pregnant with this girl, after Toby, they were like, "Oh, are you thinking of coming back into netball?" Because the Players Association and the Super Netball have like a little kitty where they put money aside for certain things, and they're like, "We'll put money aside for the traveling parties and things like that." And I just knew I couldn't do it without the support of my husband and Bobby. Obviously, if he was born healthy and everything was all good, then I'd love to come back. And Nico was on board, and we're like, okay, we're doing this. Let's give it a red hot crack. And it was so much fun. And in saying that, it was during COVID, so it was wild. I remember the Super Netball League giving us 2 hours notice. Bobby was 6 months old, and being like, okay, COVID's in Australia. We're going to hub somewhere. We don't know where, but you got to be there at the airport in 2 hours. We don't know for how long, but just be at the airport for 2 hours. We've got a charter flight for 4 teams who are currently in Queensland. And I was like, I had to call my husband and be like, you need to come home right now. I had to go home, and I had to pack for, like, I remember packing nappies and being like, how many nappies do I pack? Like, I don't know. And then, like, where are we going? And like, my mum was like, I can't even, because she lived like an hour away. She's like, I can't even come to your place to help you, because then you'll already be like going to the airport. Like, this is crazy. And then, yeah, it was just wild, but we just made it work, and I had so much support. The Firebirds were great, and Diamonds were fabulous. So it was really, really awesome experience. And then when I see more and more girls doing it, I'm like, good on you, because I feel like it gives you a different perspective almost on playing too. Like, as long as you are healthy and fit, and you getting to training is like a big effort, and then like you're like, oh, this is great, I'm here, all right, let's switch into netball mode. Whereas I think I took it a bit too, I probably let it consume me all too much pre-babies, that I like overanalyzed everything. Whereas like after Bobby, I was much more relaxed, because I was like, oh, this is even like honor in itself, just making it to training. Like, I've made it. Like, my son's here, he's dressed, like he's food, like 2 nappies on the way, but we're here, we made it. Like, let's go, let's train. And I think you focus in, and then as soon as training finishes, you switch back into mum mode. So that was really good. But it definitely came with its challenges and little hiccups. But all in all, it was really special. And the Diamonds coach, Stacey, had a 10-month-old when I was thinking of coming back. So I actually lent on her a bit, being like, oh, like, do you think I can do this? Because you've just done it. Like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, you can do it. Like, we got you. And yeah, it just gave me so much confidence, and it's awesome. I love seeing mums come back and do it. And yeah, like you said, Amelia Ann's done it with 2 now, and she's back at the top of her game, which is so inspiring. And Phoenix, I think the girls were saying she was like 17 weeks pregnant at Constellation Cup when she came on. Like, you wouldn't know, but it's so embraced. Like, it's just a part of female sport, and that's what I love.
Amazing. And obviously, like, we would love to see you back on court. Obviously, you're 3 weeks away from topping. Is that sort of in your plan? Do you want to be back on court as soon as you can, or obviously spending time as a family, adjusting to family of 5 rather than 4? Like, is that your plan to come back, or are you kind of
I think I was saying to you guys before, I was like, I just had the best experience, that I could never shut the door and be like, nope, I'm done, because I just think of like tour, and how amazing the Commonwealth Games experience was, and how many amazing experiences I had since coming back. And I'll never fully close the door, but right now I'm just like, how on earth can I run more than 1 kilometre without puffing? Because I puff when I walk up the stairs, and these young girls coming through are fit. So look, I don't know if my days are over there, but if I'll never close the door. If you see, I always say to my neighbours, if you see me running up and down the grass patch opposite my house, you'll know that I'm trying to get back into it. But so I'll keep you posted. Who knows? And I think Guyatsy's got the same amount of kids and the same age gap between her 3 years and what my 3 will be. And she's like, oh, lover, you're going to be tired. Like, this is going to be full on, just getting 3 kids out the door. So I was like, oh, I think I'll try and master that first. And then, if I put the boots back on, oh, it'll be exciting, but also I'll be a bit crazy too, I think.
Maybe it will impact your game in a positive way.
Exactly. My husband will be like, oh no, here we go again. No, it's good fun. He loves it. And the girls are just great. When you go on tour with kids, it's like you've got 12 aunties and 12 nannies. They just take them. So yeah, it's fun.
Nice experience for them to be kind of immersed in like your passion and your love, and get them excited about as well, which is really lovely.
Definitely, yeah. Bobby loved it, and he's such a social kid now because of it. Like, I was like, he's just been surrounded by people his whole life, and so when we go to the park, he's like, hi, I'm Bobby. Like, he just wants to play with everyone.
So cute.
That is
cute. No, so it's great. Yeah, so never say never. I love it. I always love it. It's such a good game.
Well, we hope to see you back on the court definitely in the future. last bit we thought we should probably dive into is your partnership with Talentlockr. So we'd love to know a little bit more about how this kind of partnership came about. I know we spoke briefly as well about some of the impact that you've had with designing, I guess, some of the interfaces, the content that kind of goes in there. So could you talk to us a little bit around kind of how the partnerships come about and what you're kind of hoping to achieve with Talentlockr?
Yeah, so I think Talentlockr reached out a while ago. It's probably 6 months ago, and they were just in the makings of it. And I was super keen when I heard about the concept because I was like, this is something so exciting for netball. I feel like even in the professional league, if someone gets injured, it's like a scramble to try and find, okay, who's not on contract, who's free, like who can we get, who's up and coming young person. Everyone's got their own state training partners, but I feel like it depends on what position and who gets injured that the coaches like, yeah, you don't know what they're going to do. Even with Janelle Fowler now with Maui Kamwenda coming in, like that's so
Yeah.
cool. And I was like, oh, for Talentlockr, it would just open so many more doors and give so much more exposure to girls around the world, and make it easier for coaches too when, say, like how I got my opportunity with Gold Coast State Leagues, someone falls pregnant or someone gets injured, and you go onto Talentlockr and you look up, okay, who's a goal shooter in this area, like who can we get, who can we look at, and I really loved the concept, and um, I jumped at the opportunity, and I know they've got some really epic sports people ahead, like Tim Cahill, who's head of football, sorry, who's a football legend here in Australia,
Yeah.
and Brett Lee heading up the cricket. And when I met with Bryce, the director, he's just such a lovely guy who gets it, and he's always said that he never fully made it in his sport, but he was always trying to get opportunities like to play over in the UK or opportunities to play in New Zealand. And he's like, it was so hard to get yourself out there to get noticed when you're just playing at your local football local football comp. And I think that's similar to my husband. He was always trying to make it in rugby union, and it wasn't until he uploaded like a highlights reel onto YouTube that he started getting like people call him, and then he ended up getting an agent from it, and then he was looking to go like to Japan and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is so exciting for every sport, but I feel like it's something really exciting for netball because we've never had something that like this app that connects all the up and coming players around the world and gives different opportunities. It could be a young girl who wants a school scholarship to a different school in a different country, or it could be someone an Australian who gets their visa to go live in England for 2 years and they want to they want to find a state league team. Like you just jump on the app and it'll put you towards a state league team. Or it could be like in Australia, they pay players good money to play country netball, which I'm not sure if you heard of it, but like you can earn up to like 20, 30, 40 grand a year playing
Wow.
country netball. So it could be like a retired player who wants to get an opportunity playing country netball if they've moved out for a job, or you finish university and want to get paid to play, but you don't want to play professionally. There's just so many different avenues you could go down, and it caters for everyone. So something I'm really passionate about, and I see it working for the professional side of things too. I just met up with Jess Milne, who I hope she doesn't mind me name dropping her, but she signed up to the app. She was like one of the first people to sign up to the app, and she debuted for the Firebirds last year, and she plays for the Gold Coast Titans here. And I just had coffee with her, and she's like, oh, I've actually got my English passport, and I didn't get a training partner gig this year, and yeah, I'd be keen to go over to England. And I was like, well, let's get working here. Let's try and get you an opportunity over in England. If that's like, she's like, I'm an OT, I can transfer to a hospital over there easily. I've obviously got my English passport. I'm a wing defence goalkeeper, and I'd love to live in London. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is you're too good to not play netball. Like, let's try and get you an opportunity. So just those types of things like make me really excited, and I think the fact that it hopefully gives people more opportunity and stops them from not playing the game, like, or stopping the game. It provides extra opportunities. So no, as you can see, I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly in the UK, it's such a pivotal point for us as we're now going professional. Something like this app, I think, is a fantastic opportunity for developing players or people that are considering, could I go down this route? I think it's an amazing opportunity because I think you described it as you can upload like your highlight reels if you've got some kind of cool layups maybe or pieces like that, or creativity that you bring to the game. It gives you a platform to be able to upload all of this amazing content about you as a player. And then, as you said, I think there's more kind of structure coming into the app around like leagues and pieces like this. But it gives you that platform to really showcase what you can do as a player, and hopefully then start to attract, I guess, scouts and clubs and teams that are looking to take on a specific type of player. It gives you a platform to really publicize yourself and put yourself out there, I guess, doesn't it?
Definitely, and we've got in the works some really exciting coaches that we want to add to the platform as well, who are really good at spotting up and coming talent, which will then make it really exciting for a player. I know I'd want to jump on if I heard this coach is on and looking, and same with agents as well. So people that want to get sponsorship deals. The world's your oyster with this app. Like you could, you could go. Yeah, I've already had an agent reach out to me from the UK, and they're like, we want to start. We've got rugby league and football players. We want to start getting netball players. How would you go about it? How do you market netball players? And I was like, oh, this is so exciting. Of course, like this is such a growing space in England. You'd be silly not to do it. Like, and just pointing him in the right direction. So I think it's just connecting those type of people as well to players and up and coming pathway players as well, which is super exciting.
I know we've covered a wealth of kind of information with you. Thank you so much for being so open with us. And yeah, I think the partnership with Talentlockr, I think, is something that is incredibly exciting. And hopefully this has given some of our listeners a bit of an inside track into what it's like and how this platform can really kind of elevate your exposure in the world of netball.
Sure, but it's free, so
and it's amazing.
Free. Yeah, so just sign up. Why not?
What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose?
Exactly.
On there.
Pardon?
We'll get Sarah's layup shots on there.
Yes, please. I'll be contacting you if I don't see it up there.
Okay, you might see a video of my face edited onto your body, maybe, and then I'll put that up on there. Done.
I wouldn't even notice. I'd be like, wow.
We're both blonde, right? It'll be fine. So the last bit we wanted to do is our Power 5 section. So it's essentially a bit of a copy of what we do we've now brought it into the Netball Super League in the UK, but obviously in SSN, you finish with like a Power 5 section where basically you've got to put up your kind of potential super shots if you want to. So we've got 5 questions that we kind of wanted to ask you. But before I jump into it, how did you feel about the Super Shot? Because obviously it's new to the UK. We haven't had kind of experience or exposure to it other than watching it within kind of the Australian League. How did you guys feel when you had the Super Shot kind of come in? And is it, was it something that the Firebirds you use quite a lot and you saw it as like an asset? Because I guess online, I think it's probably fair to say it's a real mix of emotions with the Super Shot kind of coming in. I guess ultimately the decision has been made for it to come into the sport. So it is going to be something that we see in our domestic league. But I guess we're looking at it from a positive light in terms of it brings a different dynamic into the sport. It can be really exciting in some of those games where a team is a couple behind and you land a super shot and you could draw or win games potentially. So how did you guys feel about the super shot? And do you think, I guess it's an exciting opportunity for teams to kind of grab onto as well?
Yeah, I think initially there was a lot of pushback. We were like, no, don't change it. We love it. We love this brand of netball that we're playing. But I think that's just with all change, right? And then
Yeah.
you realize, okay, this change is permanent. If we don't embrace it, like, we're going to lose games. So now teams have started to be really tactical with it and use it to their advantage. And I can understand why it's been introduced, because it makes the game really exciting. Like, as a spectator, even I get excited. I'm like, no, but like they can catch up, the Power Fives coming. Like, it keeps people entertained. So I totally get it. I hope they never change international netball. I hope they keep that as a product in itself. But no, I think it's exciting, and I think the sooner players start embracing it, the more they can just use it to their advantage. And I used to try. When they're like, "How do Firebirds do it?" I remember after Firebirds training being like, "I can still try and do a layup if I like take off from this one point." Like, try and do a layup from taking off from the 2-point stage, but it was a long stretch. I was like, this is gonna look hilarious if I thankfully never attempted it. But no, I think it's cool too, because it adds a whole nother, like, the game's so intense, and then you're like, okay, it's playoff 5, like, now I've got to start moving differently, and it's like, it takes a while to get used to, but then once, I feel like now the Super League, the Super Netball League has kind of really mastered it now, but it's taken a while to find your groove. But no, I can completely understand why they've added it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And is Gabby Sinclair over there as well?
Yeah, she's joined the Birmingham Panthers, and I think it was similar to what happened in Australia, where I think teams were selected, and then I think they announced the addition of the Super Shot kind of coming in. So I guess Birmingham are probably very excited to have an experienced player that was brought in as the impact player, wasn't she, for Super Shots? So yeah, I think they've definitely landed on their feet with Gabby coming over. I think they'll be very excited for the Super Shot edition coming in.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I used to watch her in awe. Like, I'd be on court with her and I'd be like, how is she doing that? Like, she's
amazing,
really, really talented at it. Yeah. So no, I'm excited to watch it from over here and see how they go.
Let's jump into it. Let's get the 5 kind of questions we've got. So me and Luce will kind of alternate asking you just 5 quick kind of questions. Whatever comes into your head, just answer with. Okay. Okay, first one. What is the worst position on the court?
Wing defense.
Oh, interesting.
The worst?
Yeah.
I've never played it. I'm sorry to all the wing defenders.
That was such a quick answer as well.
Yeah, no hesitation.
Amazing. Okay. Who is your netball idol?
Sorry, Braz. Netball idol. Oh, netball idol. This is so hard. Sherelle McMahon, probably, or Irene Van Dyke. Those two put together.
Okay. Love it. What's your go-to snack on game day?
Oh, banana on toast.
Oh, nice. Okay. White bread or brown bread?
Oh, whatever they've got.
Okay. Not too fussy.
Wholemeal. Yeah, not too fussy.
Okay. Do you have a superstition? Like, do you always put your left sock on first, or right sock, or weird superstition at all?
No, but I've got to have a coffee before I play. Otherwise, I lose it. I just think I'm not on my game because I haven't had my coffee. So it's probably a precious superstition that
I would do the same. Coffee.
And our final question. Oh yeah, definitely coffee or tea for me. I'm a tea girl all the way.
Oh, tea.
Maybe the Brit in me coming through.
I wish I could do that.
And then our final question for you is, who do you think is going to win the Suncorp Super Netball?
Oh, Thunderbirds again. Shamira's just too good. Like, as a goal shooter, I'm like, oh, I'll just have a headache every time I come up against that girl.
Yeah, amazing. She is insane, isn't she?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gretel. We really, really appreciate you kind of taking the time out of your busy schedule to kind of come and speak to us. And thank you also to Talentlockr for giving us the opportunity to meet with you and to talk a little bit about this amazing app that's kind of come in for players to really start to put themselves out there and hopefully start to make that move and that transition into the professional space and get noticed by some of these amazing coaches, players, teams that are sitting on this app as well. So thank you so much, Gretel. It's been amazing talking to you for like the past hour or so. It's been fantastic getting to know you, hearing all your stories, and yeah, it's been a pleasure kind of getting to know you and you sharing all this wisdom, which I think our listeners are going to absolutely love.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've loved every minute.
Oh,
you girls
cute.
are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
What an amazing session with Gretel. She was just so lovely, so easy to talk to, and she's given some really good sort of tips and insight into her journey into netball, how it wasn't all smooth sailing, obviously coming from a basketball background, rules being different, her having to work on her footwork more than other people would. Hopefully that's kind of, just given you a bit of information on how to get into netball. Obviously she spoke about Talentlockr and how that can really help. And it's free, which is the really important thing. Like Talentlockr is a free platform for you to go in, download. We both did it after the session, so stay tuned for my layup to appear on my profile.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't promise it's going to be me. It might be Gretel's body doing the layup and my face edited onto it.
Well, Gretel will be watching out for that. So
yeah, and it's an amazing platform that gives you exposure to coaches, talent scouts, clubs. So really do take the time just to download. It's super easy to do. We both did it after the session and it literally took us a few minutes to upload your profile. You just literally add in your key information like your height, the positions that you play, and then you can upload some footage of yourself. It's really, really easy to do, and then you can start to see the list of profiles that sit on there and hopefully start to get kind of scouted by clubs, coaches. And this isn't just in the UK, it's also abroad. So if you're thinking about a career potentially in another country, what an amazing platform that you can start to leverage, that Gretel's on herself as well, to get exposure to all of these clubs. So it was amazing to hear about that partnership, and I genuinely think this is an app that will really hopefully help people elevate their profile into the professional world. As you know, in the UK we're going professional, we're professional this year, it's amazing to kind of see that, and there's a platform that's going to hopefully rocket your career in the right direction. So it was just insane speaking to Gretel. Like for me, one of the standouts was definitely like her work rate, and the fact that she gives away some of these top tips about the fact that you can literally, footwork, as we said, was one of her areas of focus on. So she would skip every single day for like 15 minutes to kind of work on that her footwork speed. And it's something that's so simple, but it shows you how impactful it can be for as a player, for her to be so good. And honestly, I was just in awe of her. Like she was just so lovely, and we're going to hold you to this, Gretel.
Absolutely.
We want that cup of tea for me, coffee for you.
We will be seeing you in the UK. We'll be having teas and coffees together.
And stay tuned, because if we do get to do that, it's definitely going on our social media. It'll be like our proudest moment.
Sarah's getting married later this year. That's not even important.
Yeah, me beside wedding, Gretel coffee with her.
But we hope you really, really enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed filming it. So
thank you so much to Gretel and Talentlockr for the opportunity to talk a little bit around the application and how amazing that is, and also for the exposure to Gretel, who is just a dream to kind of chat with. And honestly, I wish we could chat to her every week.
I know, every week. Maybe book in an hour slot and we'll just catch up with life.
Put the world to rights. Done.
We're so excited to sort of progress and like speak to other people. So hopefully stay tuned for other interviews, maybe.
More to come.
But we hope you've enjoyed this episode.
Make sure that you're subscribing to us on Spotify. Give us a like, give us a follow on Instagram, and check us out on X as well. And I guess we will see you next week. Cheers.